Um, young, Welcome to our Young Learner Literacy Day, and I hope you enjoy the whole day. There are lots of sessions, and yes, you are going to get a certificate, I assure you. It's going to be sent to you through email. Okay, so are we ready to start? Yes? Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about homeschooling. Usually, we take parents for granted. We do not know that parents can be a problem, and then we are surprised if parents cause problems because their expectations are different from ours, and their ways of dealing with the teaching material differs from how we handle it. Let me start by showing you this picture. This picture has been going viral on the internet. Who has seen this picture before on Facebook? Yeah, you have. Yes, fantastic. And which one of you, so let's start this poll. Which one of you agrees with the first half, where the parents are asking the child to explain his bad marks? And which one agrees with the second part, where the parents are asking the teacher to explain the bad marks? First one first. You can use the poll. Okay. Okay, it's a yes or no poll. So you, if you agree with the first part, please click the tick. Say yes. First. Okay, first. Great. Yeah. Great. All right. So, in the past, parents used to take full responsibility for the grades of their children. They used to feel ashamed and like they put all the responsibility on the child, and the teacher is just sitting there looking, and she doesn't look stressed at all. Which ones agree with the second part, the second half? Which half do you think should happen? The way neither. Interesting. No way. Yeah, neither. Put a cross if you agree with the second. I agree with that. Neither. Yeah. So here, it's the parents are looking fiercely at the teacher, and they're asking her, explain the bad marks. And what's the attitude of the child? Irresponsible, you can say shameless, happy, not worried at all. Okay. For the second, actually, Mahmoud. Okay, proud of his parents because they're sticking, they've got his back, obviously. Actually, this picture had me thinking for a long time because, yeah, I agree with the people who say that neither of the cases is true. It should not happen this way or that way. It is teamwork. Somebody said that it's teamwork. I totally agree with you. But to get this team working, to get this harmony working between the parents and the teacher, and to get everybody on the same team, working on the same goal, there are some points that we need to consider. There are some things that we need to know about parents and about children and about teachers, things that we sometimes overlook. So let's move on to the next slide. When do you usually involve parents? Tell me, when do you usually involve parents when do you usually contact parents? Or phone call parents or ask parents to come to school? Well, it's too late. Problems, exactly behavior for mark reports, low level, yeah. bad marks, problems with behavior, and yes, fantastic feedback. So yes, discipline, bad marks, homework, no homework done. Actually, I have come up with almost more or less the same answers that you guys have come up with. It's homework, and it's not only when the homework is not done. Homework is a sort of a contact way between us and the parents. We send homework, and we expect the parent to help the child do the homework, right? Exams, quizzes, dates, parents' meetings. Okay. Parents' meetings, problems, complaints. I have noticed that most of your answers were negative. We contact parents only when there's something wrong, or when we expect their help with homework, or when we expect them to help their children prepare for the exam. Wendy says during the whole school year. Yes, this is exactly how it should happen. It's exactly how it should happen. But how to do it? This is what we're going to talk about today to avoid these kinds of problems. So, parents are not the same. This is the first thing that of course all of you have seen as teachers. In each class we meet different kinds of parents. Have you ever dealt with the invisible parent? They never show up, they never call, they never respond, they never come. You don't even know what they look like. They just send the child and they expect you to just deal with the child. Okay? And the opposite to that is, I call it surround system. Have you ever seen a surround system type of parent? Yeah? They're everywhere you look. Hi, it's me again. You can open the child's bag and you sort of see them come from the bag, yeah? They're all the time around you, and they kind of interfere with your job too. How to deal with parents that are like that? The expert. And these are the parents who come to you and tell you how to do your job. Do you meet those kinds of parents? Yes or no? Yes. The strict parent. Parents who pressurize their children too much, and they ask them to do extra work even when you haven't asked the child to do extra work. All right. Okay, let me check again if everybody can hear me and see me. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Trouble with parents, actually, we have summed it up into two main parts. It's either too negative. These are the parents who do not show up in meetings, do not reply to messages, are not involved in their children's learning, only contact you or expect you to contact them when there's a problem, feel that the teacher is not doing a good enough job, and they complain. And there are the ones that are too positive. These are the parents who do not wait for meetings to show up. They pressurize their children too much, interfere in the teacher's work, compare their children to other children, do the teaching on their own. Actually, most of the time they do it in an incorrect way because they are not professional teachers. You spend a lot of time and a lot of effort to emphasize on a rule, on a spelling rule, on a reading rule, on a phonics rule, on a certain pronunciation, and then the parent comes in and does things differently than you do. So this is actually considered too positive. And again, They feel that the teacher is not doing a good enough job, and they complain. So we've got two common factors here. Okay. There are always a few like these every year. Yeah, I agree with you. Facts. If we know the facts about parents and children and teachers, knowing the fact is the first step to identify the problem and work on it. We all want the best for our students, right? Let's take a look at the facts. Parents are not professional teachers. They should not be asked to do the teaching. Do you agree with me? Their expectations might not be realistic. They compare their children to other children. They do not understand the concept of different abilities and different pace of learning. Sometimes they want to know more than the teacher. Exactly, and this actually makes me think, why do people or customers in general choose to interfere in the teacher's job? They never choose to interfere with the doctor's job, for example. If you get your child to a doctor and he prescribes antibiotics, you don't just go to them and say, oh, I have heard about this new method of treating tonsillitis, for example. You should not be giving him this medicine. Oh, come on, you do not argue with a doctor like that. So why are the parents arguing with the teacher like that? This should be addressed. They are not professional teachers. They are busy and stressed, and this is a fact that some of us teachers, we overlook sometimes. They are stressed. They do not have time to work with their children the way that we are supposed to do. We ask them to do projects. We ask them to support. We ask them, and we do not provide them with the tools to do that. So they are busy and they are stressed. They can be more emotional than objective. My child, do not talk like that about my child. Do not say that my child has concentration problems. Do not say that my child is not doing well in school. They can be emotional and not objective because they are not professional teachers. They are parents. These are their children. I wonder if they would do a good job in homeschooling. Yeah, this is a challenge. Thank you very much. But at the end of the day, they want the best for their children, right? Okay. Some parents do not admit that their children need extra attention. Yes, thank you very much. Teachers are overworked. Now, let me see a big yes for that. Overworked? Yes. Yes. Capital yes. Yeah, I know that. Yes. They have limited time and they have an enormous job. It's almost insane. I agree with you, Monica. I totally agree with you. And they have limited time, but at the end of the day, they try to make the best of their time because they want the best of their children. Yes, and also a personal life. Thank you very much, Lillian. They've got a personal life. Teachers spend most of their free time preparing for their lessons, preparing rewards for the children, preparing extra activities for the children. And it's not fair. It doesn't seem fair. What free time? Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, exactly. What's that? Well, yeah, I agree. I hear you. And the common part of the equation, that is the children. Facts about the children are individuals and not a class. We often treat the children as one massive set. I'm going to tell the class so-and-so. I'm going to do this activity with the class. Of course, whole class teaching is an important phase of teaching. But at the end, they are individuals. They are different children with different abilities, with different perspectives. This is something we need to reflect on before sending home tasks to parents and to children. They learn and progress in little steps that we might not notice, just like the hour hand on a clock. Different learning styles, exactly, different attention spans. They need praise, thank you very much. Yes, it's true. Okay, when you start teaching a small child, a young learner, for example, how to read, there is no magical class that you can give that after this class they're going to come out of it as perfect readers. This does not happen. This isn't realistic. They learn and progress in little steps that we might not notice, but on the long run it makes a difference. Just like the hour hands on a clock. You don't notice when it's moving slowly, but after a while you notice the progress. This is how they learn, and this is what parents do not understand. They expect immediate outcomes. They need continuous practice. They learn by repetition. They have different abilities and tastes. They crave attention and positive reinforcement. And they want quality time with their parents. This is true. Sometimes homework can be seen as quality time. How's that? Homework as quality time? Homework is actually, sometimes it can be a nightmare for the child. Oh, come on, don't ask me to do homework again. I don't want to do homework again. How can we make homework quality time? Children work hard only to please us. They do not know the importance of learning English, for example. They do not know why they are learning English, why they are learning anything at all. They only do a good job just to please us as teachers and as adults. This is something very important that you need to know about children. Okay, why do we need homeschooling? Actually, this is an extract of our website, Macmillan Young Learners. This is a specific Homeschool Connect page for the course book English World. You can see the logo over here. And homeschool communication is very important, and it has proven to be very effective in helping young children to perform better in schools. It helps young children to connect better with school and feel more positive about school. Also, when there's a harmonious connection, the parents tend to complain less. So if you've got time after the session, feel free to browse through the Macmillan Young Learners website about Homeschool Connect. The links will be provided, and it will give you very good insights about this. Parental involvement in a child's learning has been shown to be a better predictor of achievement. Okay, so it's all in theory. How are we going to put theory into action? Yeah, I've got your question, Lily. And we're going to talk about that. Yes, we're going to talk about that. Homeschool Connect can help reduce the number of special education referrals, reduce dropout rates, reduce the incidence of high-risk behavior, target hard-to-reach parents. Okay. Actually, all these are extracts from the website just to give you a glimpse of what the website is talking about. You can take some time to browse through it and read these insights about Homeschool Connect. I have summed out these things in more shorter points, actually. A positive Homeschool Connect can have a remarkable effect on children's progress because children benefit from constant daily practice. Daily one-to-one work does miracles for children who are still acquiring confidence in reading. Sometimes you need the parent to be involved. You need that. It's not only your job, but you need to tell the parent how to do this. parents can help identify problems early. Because when you're dealing with large classes, you've got 30 children, 35 children per class, sometimes there are things that you miss. If a parent is following up with you, they can identify problems really early so you can deal with them. It can increase parental support for the school because clear expectations and study plans make the picture clear for the parents and reduces their complaints. How to do that? Later on, we're going to discuss how to do that. Parents will feel less pressure and they will trust the school more. So when we deal with parents, try to avoid vague instructions like, you have to help your child with reading. Like how? I'm not the teacher here. You need to tell me, to give me the tools to do that. And from the child's point of view, it improves the child's relationship with the school. With young children, home and school are their two main big worlds. And you might be surprised to know that some kindergarten children do not actually link the two worlds. They kind of panic when they see the teacher with the parent. The teacher with mommy? No, how come? You're not supposed to be together. It happens. I have seen it. At the same time, when this connection happens, it gives them an enormous sense of security that these two worlds are actually connected. Have you seen children before that behave completely different at home and at school? Does this happen with you? This is because the two worlds are not connected in their mind. So they crave positive comments, of course, and they feel safe when the two worlds are connected in harmony. The secrets of a successful link. Again, this is an extract from the website. Take some time to read it later. It's a very rich page, specifically to help you work with the parents in the best way possible. Some tips include make yourself available for parents, but do not give them your personal email or phone number. Yeah, because you've got a personal life and they should not be allowed to invade your life. Surround system, remember? No, you cannot do that. But still, you cannot live on a high tower and expect parents not to be able to reach you. They have to feel that they can reach you. They have to feel that they can talk to you about their children. Try to have a regular communication with each home, once a month ideally, but you can adapt that according to your needs and circumstances. Make it clear to parents from the outset why you are contacting them. Explain that this is a positive connection. This is not about problems. This is a regular connection. This point is really interesting. Whilst not avoiding negative feedback, try to ensure communication is as positive as possible. If there's a real problem, start a separate dialogue with the home. Okay. And Peter is doing very well. Always with the parents, you need to be really specific on the feedback that you give them. Peter is doing very well is not actually the perfect feedback that you can give a parent. You need to talk about skills, specific skills. Peter has progressed in spelling. Peter has progressed in, for example, handwriting, letter formation. Peter is now able to blend two sounds together, which he was not able to do that in the past. Not doing very well is a vague comment. This is a list of do's and don'ts. No news, good news. Actually, this should not be the case. Report good behavior and progress from time to time. Do not contact the parent only to report a problem. Report positive feedback as well. Because the parent should not go like no news, good news. If the teacher is not contacting me, everything is okay. No, actually the parent should worry if you don't contact them. Number 2, your child is very naughty. This is, again, vague and rather offensive. And as we told you, sometimes parents are emotional, but sometimes they have the right to be emotional. An alternative is, your child is very clever and loving, but he seems to have a temper problem. Address the main problem when you're talking about negative feedback. Address the real problem, the situation, okay? You need to work with your child on letter sounds. Like how? I've got a set of worksheets and games that you can do with your child daily that will help him or her practice the letter sounds. See, when you ask the parent to help their child with a skill, remember that they are not professional teachers. You need to give them the tools, you need to give them the steps, you need to give them a clear idea of what to expect. Right? Got it. That's amazing. Study for the dictation next Sunday. Here are some tips to help your child remember the spelling of the unit words. I'm going to give you a list of games and ideas that parents can use to help their children practice spelling. Where's your homework? Please do. We all do that, right? Okay. Robbie hasn't finished his homework yesterday. Please inform me if the task was too difficult. Always look for the reason. Do not insist that the page is filled, and it doesn't matter how it gets filled. You need to know why the child hasn't done his homework. Was the task too difficult? A homeschool task should not be too long. Include new skills that haven't been taught and fully covered in class. Do you agree with that? Sometimes we send homework to parents that has a skill that hasn't been covered in class. This is quite unfair because we ask parents not to interfere in our jobs as teachers, yet we give them things to work on with their children that involve new skills. That's not a fair thing to do. We've got to agree on that. It should not be too difficult or confusing. It should be a little bit easier than the classwork because you're the teacher there. The parent's role is to support and give extra practice, not do the teaching all over again. It should not have ambiguous messages such as study for the dictation. It should not include too much work for the parent. For example, surf the internet and find out the reasons for global warming. So, this is too much work for the parent. Make a project with construction paper, and it has to be decorated, and it has to have a certain layout. The child cannot do these projects. So it ends up that the parent will have to do them. That's quite unfair for the parent. A homeschool task should be related to classwork activities but relatively easier. It should suit the child's individual ability. And now this is a tricky part because in some of our schools, in most of our schools actually, home tasks are unified, right? They are sent to the same children, the same activity, the same task, and the same quantity, right? True. I usually send the easiest ones, like color, draw, cut, match, and even. Yes, exactly, Nelly, exactly. I totally agree with you. And the parents argue saying that they did not get it. Okay. Now, your role is, I know that you have to be really patient in this, but you need to explain to the parent the aim of the activity. Okay, you need to explain why are you giving this activity to the child. Parents are not professional teachers. You need to, if you are sending a home task, you need to explain to the parent. You need to tell them what to do. Let them be confused. Okay. before sending a task. Explain your expectations from the activity if it's not clear, and we're coming to that later. Explain how the child should do the activity. Sometimes we give them a worksheet that has writing templates, and we just want the child to write the word over and over again. Why not tell the parent, have the child write it one time and then cover it, and write it another time and then cover it and write it another time. This is a how to do the activity. Improvise on how parents should encourage the children to do the activity, because they have one-to-one time with the child. They have more chance than us to work in these little details to help get the most outcome of the homework. Right? Agree? Yeah. If you are sending a series of practice worksheets, you have to explain the aim of them, as we will see later on in the slides. Explain the concept of differentiation. Differentiation is a concept that most parents do not understand. They do not understand that if their child is different, it does not mean they are less intelligent or they are not clever or they are. It's a kind of it's a difference. It's not someone is more clever than the other one. Do you agree with me? Yes. Great. Ask the parent in advance to tell you if the child is unable to complete the task. Do you meet parents who do the homework for the children? Sometimes they do, right? Because they think all what you care about is for the page to be filled. No, well, I'm glad that it's a no, but sometimes it happens. Parents think that you only want the page to be filled. It does. No, you have to give the parent an idea that you care about the progress of the child. You care that the child does the homework. And if he cannot perform it, if he cannot do the task, the parent should inform you that the child is unable to do the task. They should not tell him the answers. Not in my school. Great. Yeah. After sending the task, provide feedback. And the feedback is very important to both the child and the parent, because they have worked hard on it. If you let it go unnoticed, it's frustrating. Ask for feedback. Was the child able to perform the task? Was the child able to play the game independently? Was the child showing understanding and knowledge of the target language? VIP word, feedback. Thank you very much. Provide an easier adaptation if you receive feedback that the task was too difficult. Give support to a child. If a child cannot do a filling gap activity, maybe provide this particular child with a word bank to choose from. It's not a bad thing to provide support, to provide an easier version of the activity to support the child and scaffold this skill. Okay? How? I'll show you how in the coming slides. Examples of home activities. A worksheet like this one. This is simply for KG1. Let's talk about very young learners learning how to recognize the letters and the sounds of the letters. If I give a Can you hear me now? Okay, yes, great. Sorry for that. Awesome. Okay, let me repeat this part again. This appears like a very simple coloring sheet, but for a child who is confusing letters like F or G or C, I just provide one key picture like this, and they have to find the bubble that has the correct letter and color it. By this activity, if I repeat it every day, the child will notice that this letter is the same shape. These are little children. If they are confused, I cannot tell the parent, work with the sounds like f, work with sounds like k. But by providing these worksheets daily, you might have to work with f, for example, for 3 days, until the child is able to identify this sound or shape of letter. See the example here. It's a very simple worksheet, but it can be sent to the parent. It will not take time, but it will support you. Okay? And every week, work on 2 or 3 letters with this child. The parent will do all the work. All you have to do is give the worksheet, maybe, design the worksheet. It doesn't have to be something fancy. It doesn't have to have great art. Just a simple idea and easy to do, but it will do miracles and it will save time. And you will not have to work on one-to-one level with this child. Okay? Actually, these are worksheets that come from our Macmillan Young Learners website that is talking about the course book for KG Learning Stars. Oh, the previous one was a design that I have put together just for the session. It's just an idea. These that I'm showing in this slide are available online in the Macmillan Young Learners website. If you are using Learning Stars, if you are using the course book Learning Stars, all these worksheets are going to be available for free, just for you to download and print. Okay? And this is an example of a vocabulary worksheet. For example, here these words. If you send a worksheet like this to the parent, they might think that their children have to spell these words. Actually, the aim of this worksheet is only sight recognition, and it's always linked to the picture. I never give these words away from the picture. This is my aim. So if your aim is not clear to the parent might complain, oh, my child does not know how to do this activity. My child does not know how to read these words. No, my aim is not for him to read these words. My aim is for him to name the picture and then try to find the word. Get the difference. Get the concept of explaining the aim of the activity. Okay, great. Here, it's the same thing. My aim here is not for the child to read these and spell these. These are provided for text exposure. And are these parents or defense lawyers? Okay, you made me laugh. Should always start with the S and not spelling and writing down words. Actually, what you start with, you are free to start with whatever you want, but you need to make your expectations from this particular task clear to the parent. You need everything to be clear to the parent so they do not come and ask you, why is my child unable to spell these words? These are not for spelling. Moving on, here's the difference. This worksheet aims for spelling, and this worksheet aims for spelling. They are for the same book, by the way, Learning Stars. And here you have to differentiate between the worksheets that target spelling and the worksheets that target word recognition. Okay, so the key words here is explain and make it very clear to the parent why they are receiving this worksheet and what you are targeting. Agreed? Moving on. Here I'm going to show you examples of our websites that have a digital offering for the parent that will help them work with their children in more fun ways, in less stressing ways, and it explains to them what they need to do exactly to support their children to learn English. We've got the website for English words. All these are young learners course books. English words is a primary course book. Learning Stars is a KG course book. And we've got Hats on Top for KG also. Free. Are these materials free to download from the website? Yes, they are free. Once you are using this book, we provide you with a code, an access code, and you can download all these materials for free. They are specifically designed for the Macmillan course books. Okay? This is an example of a website for Learning Stars. It has got a letter for the parent. It's translated in Arabic and in Spanish to support the parents who do not speak English. The parent does not have to speak English to support his or her child, right? If we don't use the books, can we get it the same? Oh, I'm afraid you can't. Because these are materials that are related to the curriculums that we teach, to our course books. Okay? Oh. Some of them are available for free. Some of the websites are open for everyone to read, to browse, because they talk about methodology, they talk about how to deal with parents in general, but the worksheets, the materials, they are, you need to be using the books to use them. So here's an example of a letter to the parent. They introduce the book to the parent and tell them what the outcomes will be and what they should expect from the book. And this is really useful if you are sending a letter to the parents, if the parents don't have access to the website. But this part is for the parents. Advise your parents to browse the website and take a look at these. This is an example of a game that the parents of young children of KG can do with their children. When they are driving, when they are out on a picnic, when they are out having fun, parents can help their children acquire vocabulary and acquire structures. Like, what are they? What is this? Flowers, ducks, cars, shops. They can practice in fun ways with their children without the need to have them seated down on a desk and have a boring task of remembering vocabulary, right? So this is an extract of the website. If you can visit the website later, you can find this page and read more ideas like that. Let me talk to you about English World's Homeschool Connect system. English World, as I told you, is a primary course book from Macmillan, and it has got a complete network for parents that is not only about ideas and tips. It has got more things than that. The four main aims of Homeschool Connect, like we talked before, to improve the link between the school and home, to share the class progress and new objectives with parents, to give parents insights into their child's learning. Okay, let's move on. How does it work? At the end of every unit, there are these merit cards. Okay? This merit card system, the merit card looks like this. At the end of each unit, all the children receive a merit card that looks like this. It has got like a summary of what the child has acquired throughout the unit, and it has got a very nice activity that is fun and easy. It consolidates. Yes, it is quite motivating, and it's called merit card because it's some kind of a reward. The child gets this reward after completing a unit, and it's got at the back the objectives for the next unit, so the parent can, even in their mother tongue, prepare the children for the coming unit. In the website, you will find game ideas for children to practice vocabulary and spelling. Do you know this game, Hangman? We have put it in a form of spider, and the parent, instead of having the children write down the words over and over and over again, they can play this game with them to help them spell. A lot of games like that and a lot of game ideas are presented in the English World website. Is the same merit card for everyone? Yes, it's the same merit card for everyone. Yeah. This is another game, Word Islands, and if you see that it's an outdoor game, they can play with the children outside to practice vocabulary. How cool is that? How motivating is that for the young child? Here, if you take some time to read what the game looks like, it's like writing the words on islands on the floor and having the child jump or leap in between the words. It's really motivating and children love it. Yes, kids do love this one, yeah. And it gives them the sense that they are playing, they're not really studying. If they miss the word this time, they're going to recognize it the second time. Okay? Remember, home tasks should be easier than class tasks. Moving on to learning stars again. I played it with number in KG, yes, absolutely yes. But with the parents get to play with the children on one-to-one basis, so the children benefit a lot from it. The interactive CD-ROM of our KG book, Learning Stars. Actually, we have thought a lot about what to offer the children to do at home. And we thought of this idea of making interactive games, computer games, that are related to the vocabulary of the book. So, the child is playing, he's having fun, he's playing, he's like, instead of playing Candy Crush or Facebook games, they're going to play Learning Stars games. The parents, in this website, they've got access to the songs. They've got a picture dictionary that has the exact correct pronunciation of the word, because not all parents are professionals, right? Let's take a look at the interactive CD-ROM. This is the dictionary that I was talking to you about. All the parents has to do, or the child, is to click the audio icon, and they can hear the pronunciation of the word, and they can train their children to pronounce it properly. Even the child can teach their parents to pronounce words. This is an example of an interactive game, like it's Listen and Color. Actually, these are all screenshots of the interactive CD, because I cannot play videos here. The child, please, and not the parents. I kind of agree with you, but some parents prefer to do the teaching, right? And if they pronounce the word in an incorrect way, you know, they can ruin the pronunciation for the child. So it's better to provide reference for the parents in case they need to, they feel they need to practice with their children, right? This is a song that is provided also, animated. Let me talk to you about mobile apps. Nowadays, each and every one of our young children have got access to mobiles, right? True. And they play all kinds of games. They even download the games themselves. And this is why we have some mobile apps that are related to some of our courses. Bebop is a KG course book, a preschool book, and it has got this mobile app that is really, really interesting. So again, instead of having the child play Candy Crush, they can play Bebop. They can play with vocabulary on the mobile or tablets or iPhone or whatever. This is a screenshot of the Bebop Band app. It has got story songs, games, flashcards, and action songs, all as a reference to what is happening in school, all in a very small thing as a mobile that the parent can have a reference to what's going on in class. It's very easy to use. All what the parent has to do is just drag and choose and click. I have these apps on my mobile. Yes, they are available, mostly for free, and only the games are locked. Some of the games are locked, and the parents or the children will need to buy them, but they're not that expensive actually. They're available, yeah. If you go on Play Store on Google or Apple Store, you will find them. And this is an action song. They've got everything. They've got all the material of the course book in the mobile app. And this is also a game, an interactive game. We need the link to the app. You can search for Bebop on Play Store, Google Play Store, from your smartphone. Okay? Okay. And we provide a video. This is an extract from the website. We provide a video for the parents on how to use the app, a tutorial, you mean. So you don't need to explain. Just give the link to the parent to our website. It's all on Macmillan Young Learners link. The links are going to be provided to you. And everything is explained. Story Central is our brand new primary course book, and it's highly visual. It's based on stories, and it has got this fantastic app also. It's available on Google Play Store. It has got games with many levels. It has got all the power-ups that the children like to buy. It has got, it's really exciting really to involve the children in a vocabulary game or a language game, that, and it's a fun game at the same time. It's challenging. It has everything they want in a mobile game. All these are extracts from the games, screenshots as I was playing. Okay. Also, you've got practice lists, like a picture, just like the picture dictionary I've showed you in Learning Stars. And just like any other game online, you have got settings, sounds, power-ups, credits, rewards, yeah, trophies. Okay. And have we got any questions? Julian says, how to cope with personalized class with 30 kids? This is a very good question actually. How to differentiate, how to do a differentiation, a worksheet with differentiation with large classes. All you need to do is divide the class into 3 levels. When you are designing a worksheet, try to make an easier adaptation for a job. For example, you are asking the child to fill into the gaps, to write the word under the picture, right? You know that some of your children cannot do that. They do not have the memory for spelling. Provide them with the word minus the vowel, okay? Write the letters of the word and skip the vowels. So the child has to think only about the vowels at this moment. Then, after that, when they have mastered this, you can give them the original worksheet. Actually, it's not that hard because the individual changes can be put into categories. You do not have to make 30 different worksheets, okay? Just categorize. And the children will fall under one category or the other. Then, if you've got a child that is a real case that is not responding to any of your categories, then you will need to design some worksheets specially for them. But this will not happen quite often. You will have to do this for maybe one child in the 30 children. Okay, another question. Let's see. What are the most important things to keep in mind when dealing with teachers? This question is for the parents, right? Yeah. The parent has to know that the teacher knows what he's doing, and that the teacher is qualified enough, that the teacher has been trained and has been tested and has been interviewed and has been chosen to do this job. Okay? You have to be, as teachers, you have to deliver the message that you know what you're doing, that you have a plan. Once the parent sees that you have got a fixed plan, their complaints will reduce dramatically. Okay? How do you explain to the children why they have different tasks? They usually want to be equal with equal tasks. This is a very good question, actually. I really like it. And the answer to that is, children will not know that this task is different because this is a home task. They will not see what is being sent to each other's homes. On the outside, the task is almost the same. It only has a little bit of support for this child. Little children do not really focus on these things. As long as they can do the task easily and stress-free, they're not going to ask, okay, imagine, you are a child that is struggling with spelling. Your friend is taking a worksheet that is asking them to write the whole word, and you are taking a worksheet that is slightly supported. You will like that. You will feel that, oh yes, I'm able to do that. It will not be stressful. It will actually make him feel more comfortable and more relieved and more relaxed. Okay. Any more questions? My students are used to doing different tasks. Yes, because it's a good concept. It's a nice thing to tell them that it's okay to be different. It doesn't mean that you're not as good as your friend. It's okay to be different. Differentiation is a very good concept to teach young children. We're not all the same. It does not mean that one of us is better than the other. How can I include your talk in my paper? How can I include this webinar in the references section? You will be able to download the PowerPoint, and you will be able to, this session is recorded, so you will be able to watch it later. Okay? It was very useful. Thank you very much. I've heard about letter method. What? Okay, let me see that. I've heard from Ola, yes. I've heard about letter method while interacting with parents. I mean, at the beginning of the school year, we write a letter for the parents in which we describe what we demand, and we can guarantee. Yeah. Of course. This is a very good way, and at the beginning I have told you that sending letters to parents is a very good idea. It gives them a clear vision of your plan. You enter the school with a plan. The problem is the parent is not informed and is not let in your plan. And in the letter you need to specify what you are going to do as a teacher and what the parent will be asked to do. You will not ask the parent to do anything that is too difficult for them or not suitable for them as parents. A teacher is a teacher, a parent is a parent. Everything should be clear, and so life will be easier for everyone. Well, any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed this session, and I hope it was useful. As I told you, this session is recorded. You can watch it again, and you will be able to download the PowerPoint later, I think. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? This is Viv, live from Alexandria, on the north coast of Egypt. I can't quite believe that I'm here, but as far as you're concerned, I think I could be anywhere. It's a very strange experience. So yeah, we're in Egypt. We've been in Cairo. We've been to Giza. I've actually seen the pyramids, which was absolutely amazing. And now we're on the north coast next to the sea. Lovely sunny day here. And I'm hoping to be able to go and have a look around because I haven't seen anything of Alexandria yet. Hello from Ukraine. That's brilliant. Where else are there people? In the chat box I can see you, but I don't know where you're from. I can see Angela, Joanna, Portugal, Italy, Turkey, Bosnia, Spain, England. That's amazing. Okay. Russia, Brazil, Saudi, Greece, Japan. Oh my goodness. It might be easier to ask where you're not from. Poland, Argentina, so many countries. Yes, right. Okay, it's really great to be here, and I think everything's working. I just need to work out how to move my slides on. And yeah, I've got it. And yeah, let's make a start. So I'm here today to talk to you about storytelling, and in particular storytelling in the 21st century. That's in our digital world, and looking at ways that we can use stories in our classrooms today in our language lessons. So let me see if I'm pushing the right buttons. This one, is it? Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about first the enduring appeal of storytelling, using stories in the EFL classroom, storytelling and reading in particular in the digital world, and using stories to develop 21st century skills. Everyone hear me clearly? Yes, I've got a perfect there from Henry, so any problems, just tell Henry, he'll sort you out. Okay, so historically, oral storytelling was used as a way of passing knowledge and culture from generation to generation. From the beginning of mankind, people have told stories sitting around the fireside and passing on their stories. Lewis Carroll famously told his story of Alice in Wonderland orally before it was written down. He was actually on a rowing boat in Oxford, and he told the story to a little girl called Alice and her two sisters. And it was Alice who persuaded him to write it down for the first time. Jane Austen and Charles Dickens also famously read their stories aloud to find out, judge the reactions, and then change their stories accordingly. How many stories have you heard or read today? I've heard so many stories this week in Egypt. Stories that people have told me about their experiences, stories I've read in books and in the news. On my Facebook page, there have been quite a few news stories as well this week, as I'm sure you can imagine. We're all storytellers. Whether we're telling a story about the dog running away or perhaps what we dreamt last night, we're not just imparting information. We're selecting which parts to tell. We're sequencing them in order to add effect and understanding. We use gesture and expression as well. Storytelling is a shared experience, and it's still an important form of communication in today's fast-paced world. And many stories don't date. A lot of fables and myths have values that are still relevant in today's world. And a lot of themes recur. Things like Star Wars are actually a battle between good and evil. And Frozen, the recent Disney film, is a fairy tale, but with the situations updated. Stories are an ideal platform for language learning. I'm sure you all use stories in your classrooms already. Where do you find these stories? In your course books? And perhaps do you use readers? Or even real books? There are so many stories around, and they're a rich source of language and imaginative input. They provide language in a motivating context and give children a reason for listening. They're also familiar with the conventions of narrative. They've been hearing stories since they were babies. People here are saying they download books as well, and we're going to come on to talking about digital and e-books in a minute. So oral storytelling in the classroom is a natural part of most lessons. Children can understand language that is way higher than the level of their curriculum through stories. So along with the pleasure that children get from listening to and reading stories, there are many pedagogic reasons for using them in the classroom. I started a mind map here. I think the first reason for using stories in the classroom is that they nurture a positive attitude towards learning. And we all know that children who are enjoying their lessons are more likely to learn. They also provide language, whether vocabulary, grammar, functional language, intonation, pronunciation, within a context. Does anybody have any other good reasons out there for why you use storytelling in the classroom? If you've got any ideas, put them into the box. Okay, for fun, exposure to language, I think fun comes under my first point of nurturing a positive attitude. To integrate learning, creativity, okay, yes, that's a good one. I think we can use stories to move on to creative thinking activities. Life skills, critical thinking, practice, I've got a lot of ideas, pronunciation, imagination. Okay, I'm just reading everything that's coming up in the chat box here. You've got lots of nice ideas. What about cultural awareness? Exposing children to stories from different countries and cultures is a way of helping them to learn about other ways of the world, but in the safe environment of the classroom. Values as well. Morals and fables have an obvious value, but other stories I think you can often draw values from. Most stories have some aspects of good and bad in them and judgments that children can make. And I think both of these, cultural and values, sometimes they're sensitive issues, but it's easy to approach them in the context of a story. What else have I got here in my mind map? Creative thinking, we mentioned this. Stories are a great springboard for creative thinking activities, and we're going to come on to look at these in a minute. And finally, last but not least, literacy. Reading stories, sharing stories, listening to stories. The more children enjoy listening to stories, the more likely they are to want to read them. And literacy is the key to all learning. It opens doors for everybody in all aspects of life. The more you read, the more you understand about life, and the better you will communicate and connect with people. Studies have shown the benefits of reading in first and second language acquisition. So reading is a powerful thing. There's a book called The Power of Reading by a linguist called Stephen Krashen. Do you know about Stephen Krashen? I'm sure you've heard of him. In The Power of Reading, he explores the way that children acquire language almost by accident. Here's a quote from his book. When children read for pleasure, they acquire involuntarily and without conscious effort nearly all the language skills many people are so concerned about. When we read, we really have no choice. We must develop literacy. Stephen Krashen goes on to talk about the knock-on effect of reading on speaking and writing and spelling. So the better your level of literacy, the better you will be at speaking, reading, writing and spelling as well. More recent research shows that children who are good at reading or who read more do better in all subjects, not just literacy. And your level of literacy can also affect how well you succeed in school, more than social or economic factors. So, how do we select stories? Which stories can we use? Which ones are going to work in our classrooms? There are many different criteria for selecting stories. I started with this one. Do you like the story? You're the teacher. You know your kids. If you like the story, this will show, and if you enjoy it, the children are more likely to enjoy it as well. Is it age appropriate? You know, what topics are your children interested in? I'm sure you don't need to be told some of these. Is the language level appropriate? I included this one, but reluctantly, because I think children can understand language way above their level when it's within the context of an engaging story. So people sometimes say, oh, I can't use that story because they haven't done the past tense yet. But so many stories are told in a narrative which uses the past tense. But I don't think this is a problem. Children will understand a story that they enjoy, regardless of whether it includes a tense they haven't encountered before. What about you? Have you got any other criteria that help you to choose stories? Stories with pictures. Somebody can read my mind. Are there illustrations? Of course, illustrations in a book are going to help with understanding as well. Children can decode them, and it helps them with their comprehension. Anything else from out there? The subject matter, I think I included in the, is it age appropriate? The length, the characters. Okay. What about repetitive element? A lot of children's picture books have a repeated phrase like a chorus. It's nice to choose books with young learners that has this repetitive element because it helps to embed the language in their minds. And you can read the story again and again and they start to join in, like in rhymes, as somebody has suggested. Somebody has a message. Okay. I put this as, does it include values or cross-curricular content? So if there is a message that you want to get across, some social or moral values, again, a story provides a safe place in which to approach some sensitive subjects and also to include cross-curricular aspects. People have said, you know, creative activities and can you act it out? I put this into one general area. Will it lend itself to further activities? Not every story is great for acting out. If there are 17 characters in a story, it's not going to be very easy. So if you want to do acting, it's best to look for a story that has 2 or 3 characters with similar or equal amounts to say. Other further activities might involve writing or making things and craft activities. So have a think about what you're going to be able to do with the story once they have read it. Finally, I put what genre is it? It's important to expose children to different genres because they all like different things. And I think I've got a quote coming up. Oh no, I was going to show you some of the genres that we included in Story Central. Does everybody know what a genre is? Can you give me some examples? What do I mean when I talk about genre? I'm going to grab my glass of water. Poetry, adventures, fantasies, fairy tales, myths, detective stories. Okay, you all know what I'm talking about. So here are some examples from Story Central. This first one is called The Legend of the Lost Island. It's about Atlantis. Does anybody know what this is? Well, it's a Greek myth from Plato. So here we have a version of it, of a Greek myth. This is a fiction based on the historical story of the Titanic, and it's presented in a diary format. So it's important, as well as different genres, to show as many different text types as you can. So narratives, diaries, plays, scripts, poems, etc. This is a folk tale from the Middle East of Aladdin from the Arabian Nights. And this one is an original mystery story. It's a kind of adventure story with some kids who are trying to solve a mystery. What type of story is this? Okay, yes, it's a comic strip story about a superhero called Mastermind who can read people's minds. And here we have a true story about an unusual friendship between an elephant and a sheep. This one is from Australia, and it's an Aboriginal folk tale about how the kangaroo got his pouch. And here an African story about a chief who goes back to his village and orders for all the frogs to be killed. Some people can't see the slides. There seems to be a problem. I'm going to leave Henry to sort that out. Okay, so all kinds of different genres. And the reason we're doing this is, here is, maybe I'm going too quickly. Okay, a quote from Frank Serafini, who wrote a book called The Reading Workshop. He said, "There is no such thing as a child who hates to read. There are only children who've not found the right book." I think we all recognize this as adults. There are some books that our friends might love and that don't appeal to us. So everybody has different tastes. But my kids don't read anymore, some of you say. They're all using screens all the time, and they don't have time to read books anymore. So how is storytelling and reading surviving in today's screen-dominated world? Some evidence suggests that children are actually reading more now that they have access to more material in different formats. There's so much reading material via their screens, and technology brings new possibilities for reading. They can personalize books or use interactive books and interact with stories in new ways. There are audio books, there are videos of storytelling. There's all kinds of ways of reading and hearing stories. I recently heard about a new technology called WhisperSync, and this enables you to read a book on your tablet that you've downloaded perhaps from Amazon or whatever. Say you're reading your tablet while you're on the train on the way to work. Then when you arrive at your station, you can plug in the earphones and continue to listen to the same story, picking up at the point where you left off. Somebody here has used WhisperSync and says it's fun. I think WhisperSync is fun. I've shown it to some of my adult students. I thought this was incredible use of technology and storytelling. Preschool children have also been shown to benefit more from digital storybooks when they're learning to read, because they provide audio and visual support and the interactivity, so they can be reading and listening at the same time. So storytelling and digital media can and do coexist. We can take advantage of technology in the classroom, showing pages of the course book on interactive whiteboard. When I was in the classroom recently, I found it really helpful, particularly for storytelling, to be able to show the page on a screen. It's always difficult to get a group of children, when you've got a large class especially, to all be looking at the same page. And of course there's the interactive functions down the left-hand side here. So you can click on the audio, you can zoom in on a picture, you can flip from one component to another. There are so many different functions that you can use to help you with telling stories and teaching with an interactive whiteboard or some kind of visual display. I had a video from Story Central to show a storytelling video, but I'm afraid it apparently doesn't work via webinar. So I'm going to have to, first here's a spread, from the course book showing you an interactive page. And this is the story I wanted to tell you. Okay, here we have a story, a traditional story called Chen's Magic Pen. You may recognize this story because it's based on a folk tale, a Chinese folk tale called The Magic Paintbrush. And in this folk tale, a little boy is given a magic pen or paintbrush and a notebook, and when he draws things, they come to life. He uses it to draw a horse to help an elderly couple he sees trying to carry a heavy load, and the horse comes to life. He then draws some rice for a poor family who haven't got any food, and the rice comes to life, becomes real. He then meets the mayor, who is, you can see him in the bottom right-hand corner here, and he's a very angry man, and he asks Chen to draw gold for him. But Chen says, no, I'm sorry, I can't draw gold to make you rich. The mayor's really angry and throws him into prison. But Chen has an idea. He can draw a door through which he can escape. On his way out through the door, he drops the pen, and the mayor picks it up and thinks he will be able to draw whatever he wants to make him rich. But of course, the pen doesn't work for him. We're going to come back to this story in a minute, but first I want to talk to you a little bit more about critical thinking and critical literacy. So this story I've shown you just now is from a reader, but we also have a storytelling video with the same folk tale on it. And children are getting used to having access to reading material in many different media. They watch videos of stories, they read books, and they can use e-books. They have more access to reading material than ever before. So getting information isn't the issue anymore. These stories I'm showing, by the way, are from Story Central, which is the book that has just been published by Macmillan, and Henry will tell you more about it. So getting information and finding stories and reading material isn't the problem in today's world. The main issue is helping children to make sense of all the information that's out there. They need to learn what to do with the information and what trust to place in its authenticity. This is where critical thinking comes in. Critical thinking involves developing the key skills of questioning and reasoning. It's an essential skill in today's world. There's so much information out there, but is it correct? Is it biased or just out of date? Critical thinking allows us to question that information, analyze it, and evaluate it. So to equip children for life in the 21st century, they need a higher level of skills. Understanding a text isn't enough. They need higher order thinking skills. So what is higher order thinking? Has anybody seen this pyramid before? I call it a pyramid because I've just seen the pyramids in Giza, so I thought it was appropriate. Okay, Bloom's taxonomy. Excuse me. Good old Bloom. Excuse me a minute. I've been talking far too much today. Okay, this is good old Bloom. He's been around for a long time, but still used in education today and still relevant. Poor me, thank you. Yeah, I've done 3 presentations today. So, Bloom divided thinking into lower order and higher order. thinking. So he starts at the bottom with remembering and understanding text. But then at a higher level, he discussed the way that we need to start to apply what we know, what we've read, and then analyze it and evaluate it, and eventually be able to create our own, perhaps alternative scenarios. Higher order thinking involves analyzing and evaluating what we're reading. This is all getting a bit heavy, and it makes you wonder how we're going to combine this sort of higher order thinking with young children. But as you'll see here, this little baby isn't doing too badly. It sounds ambitious to combine higher order thinking with young learners. But actually, our research when writing Story Central led us to the conclusion that children are natural critical thinkers. What teacher or parent has not been exasperated by a child constantly asking why? Why this? Why that? And I read somewhere that if you want to be better at critical thinking, you should act like a 5-year-old. I think we're in danger of perhaps losing the ability to, or the emphasis on creative thinking with all of when there's so much pressure to pass exams and do tests and get the answers right. Critical thinking encourages teachers and children to remember that their opinion is valid and there isn't always a correct answer. Okay, so time for a quick activity. I told you quickly the story of Chen and his pen. I want you to have a look at these questions you can see up there on the screen. I didn't tell you the whole story, so you may not be able to answer the questions, but that doesn't matter. What I'd like you to do is to decide whether these questions involve higher or lower order thinking. So have a quick look at these questions while I have another sip of water. Okay, let's have a look together. So, what's the boy's name? Higher or lower order? Yes, lower. What does King Jade give him? Lower. Number 3, what does he draw? Yes, lower. So these 3 involve just recall, just remembering these facts from the story. What about number 4? Which characters are good and which are bad? Higher, that's right. It involves a higher level of thinking and analyzing and making a judgment. Number 5, imagine you have a magic pen. Draw something. Higher or lower? Yes, somebody's just said number 4 to 7 are all higher. Have you all got that? Yes, that's absolutely right. So the last 4 questions involve you in thinking in more than just understanding or remembering what happened in the story. They involve a higher level of critical thinking. The last one we included because we wanted children to start thinking about genres. And this question, do you think the story is real, was our way of asking them, to think about different types of story. Is it fact? Is it fiction? Is it a myth? Is it a fantasy? But rather than asking these questions, we just got them to focus and to be aware that some stories may not be real. And one of the most difficult things we found with these critical thinking questions was how to get the question across to the child. The activity was often very simple, like number 5. Children love drawing. They can easily draw something in their own way. But how to ask them to do it? I think we started off with something like, what would you have drawn if you had been Chen or something, which is like the third conditional, way above their level. So one of the challenges we had was to try to ask the question in simple language, but also I think you have to accept that you may need to use the children's mother tongue for some of these critical literacy tasks. Okay, so critical thinking, critical literacy in particular, is encouraging children with any text that is in front of them, whether it's a news story or a fictional story, to question who wrote it, what was their perspective, when did they write it, why did they write it, and is it fact or opinion? So getting them to question the authenticity of texts with these critical literacy questions is going to help them to go beyond just simple language learning and into the realms of critical thinking. I think I showed you this story about the elephant and the sheep. Have a look at these statements and tell me if you think they're facts or opinions. I'll give you a minute. Well, I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so before doing this exercise, we would have talked to them about facts and opinion and explained that facts are things that can be scientifically proven. So let's have a look together. Number 1, young elephants need their mother's milk for 2 years. Fact or opinion? Fact. Yes, fact. Number 2, elephants are interesting animals. Opinion. Okay, oh, you're so fast. Some people have done them all. Number 3, elephants are social animals and live in herds in the wild. It's a fact. Number 4, the situation was getting worse. Yes, opinion. And number 5, Temba the elephant was happier now. Is yes, again, it's opinion. So being able to distinguish between facts and opinions will help the children to evaluate the reliability and usefulness of the text they encounter and to question whether something is believable or not. Have a look at this picture. Can you write a few words describing it into the text box for me? Beautiful, peaceful, amazing, spectacular, charming, green, nature, lush, lovely. Okay, fantastic. Calming, relaxing. Okay, enough. Now, I want you to imagine that you're a teenager, perhaps you're 18 or 19, and you live in a little house on the hill there amongst the trees. There's no cinema, no cafes, no shopping mall. All your friends live in the city. There's no bus to town. Can you describe it again for me? Boring, dull, super boring. Okay, so yes, frustrating, isolating, lonely, exactly. This age-old debate between town and country is a theme in the fable of the town mouse and the country mouse. Do you know this story? I think yes. Some people are saying yes, you all know this fable. Okay, so the town mouse loves his city life. The noise, the cars, the traffic, and all the things to do. And he goes to visit his cousin in the country, who loves the country. I think the moral of this story is something like different people like different things, and don't judge people by your own standards. But what I want to look at is the perspectives of the two different mice in this activity. So these statements all describe the town. Have a look at these statements and can you decide who you think said these things. Was it the town mouse, who loves living in the town, or was it the country mouse, who likes the peaceful country? So number 1, life is so exciting in the town. Who do you think said that? Yes, the town mouse. Number 2, it's noisy and scary. Yes, the country mouse. Number 3, I don't like it in the town. The country mouse. Number 4, there are lots of things to do. Town mouse. And number 5, the town is dangerous. Country mouse. Okay, easy activity. Easy for you. But questioning who wrote a text and whose point of view is expressed is another key critical thinking skill. Should we believe what we read? Is it true? Is it a fact? Or is it just somebody's opinion? What perspective is it written from? It's really important for kids to start learning to excavate hidden meanings underneath the text they're reading. Do you recognize this fable? Okay, yes, this is a very well-known story of the ant and the grasshopper. Again, as you can see, I do have some audio here, but I don't think it's going to work on the webinar. So just to quickly update you, the grasshopper is here, lazing around, enjoying the sunshine. Yeah, it is a shame. I'd like to show you some of the audio and the video. So he's enjoying the sunshine, listening to music and sunbathing. And meanwhile, his ant friend is working really hard in the fields, picking corn to store away for the winter. What do you think is going to happen next? Any ideas from out there? What's going to happen next? You probably know what happens next, but you can ask the kids to guess. That's right, winter comes. The grasshopper has nothing to eat. He's going to starve. Meanwhile, the ant's going to have lots of lovely food. And here it is. Here's the poor grasshopper in the winter, hungry and miserable. So getting kids to think about, to predict what's going to happen next, encourages them to think about cause and effect and the consequences of their actions, and hopefully will help them to make better decisions. This is my favorite critical thinking question. Are you an ant or a grasshopper? Such a simple question linguistically, but it involves you in so many levels of understanding. First, you have to remember or recall the story. You have to have understood the story, and then to analyze it and to remember what the ant's character was like and what the grasshopper's character was like, and then relate it to yourself and think about, personalize it and think about how you respond to the story. So what about you lot out there? How many of you, how many ants, how many grasshoppers? I think I'm a bit of a grasshopper. At times grasshopper, at times ant. Okay, both. The ant, yeah. I think by nature I'm a bit of a grasshopper. I leave things to the last minute. I like to enjoy the sunshine while I can. But obviously when you hold down a job and a family and this kind of thing, I think we all have to become a bit ant-like. And all of you teachers have to be ants to get all of your lessons prepared. So here's an example anyway of a really simple question that actually involves quite a high level of thinking. So all these activities encourage children to think at a deeper level, to have a questioning and challenging and analytical state of mind, relate things to themselves and recognize that their own and others' assumptions are different and that there isn't always a right answer. Remember I told you the story of Chen and his magic pen? Well, before I finish, I wanted to show you some of the drawings that people did. Before I left the UK, Mo and I asked people to read the story or watch the video and then draw a picture of what they would draw if they had Chen's magic pen. And here are some of the results. The youngest person was 5, I think it was George there in the middle, who drew a train. And the oldest was Sheila, age 2, that's my mum. And she drew a cup of tea. So you can see all of the different things people drew and how there clearly is not one correct answer to this task. Bill down in the middle there, he drew a beautiful watercolour of springtime. Apparently he was fed up with the winter in England, which can be very long and cold, and he wanted the spring to come. Dave, I think he was probably just very hungry when we asked him what he wanted, what he would draw. Paddy wanted more tigers in the world. I think he was thinking about endangered animals there, and Mo too, who drew some bees, because we need more bees to pollinate the flowers. I asked my mum why she drew a cup of tea, and she said, well, I said, it's not really going to change the world or help so many people. And she said, well, you did ask me just after we'd been out shopping all day, and I really was quite desperate for a cup of tea at that time. I think Andrew was quite clever in the middle there. He drew a magic wand, which meant that he would be able to have whatever he wanted forevermore. So, to finish off here, my conclusions are as follows. Storytelling provides an ideal platform for language learning. Children are motivated by a rich variety of genres and media, including print and digital. Children are natural critical thinkers, so if we do have time, let's allow them time to be creative and imaginative and take their thinking to a higher level. Stories can take children way beyond the level of simple language learning and into the realms of critical thinking. Thank you for listening to me, everybody. I don't know how long I've been, but I think it's time I got to the end and made room for Jeanne, who's about to arrive. Thank you, everybody. I can see everybody saying thank you. And I think I could probably hand over to Henry if he's not fallen asleep yet.
No, Viv, I've not fallen asleep. Don't worry. Very interesting stuff. Excellent job. I hope you all enjoyed that, everyone. Thanks to Viv.
You.
Let's all say a big thanks to her in the chat box now. She's done a great job for us.
Well, I've got hundreds of people thanking me.
Good to see you again.
Thank you.
I hope you're having a nice time there in Egypt. It sounds lovely.
Oh, it's just been the most amazing trip. Really has.
Yeah.
Quite exhausting. I could sense my
Yes,
voice
you
going
need to
now.
rest that, it sounds like. Well, thanks for making time for us.
I know.
And yeah, would you like to say goodbye to everyone quickly?
Yeah, it's been my absolute pleasure. Thank you all for listening. And yeah, I didn't really talk much about the specific course. I heard a few questions about that, but I'm sure I can pass over to the marketing team.
Yes,
for
that's
that
right.
side.
We'll be contacting everyone who's been watching today, and we can give them the lowdown on the course and the books and what have you. So, yes, you go away and get better now. Don't want you to lose that voice.
Yeah. I think I might go and have a nice
lovely.
swim, actually. There's a lovely
Very
swimming pool
jealous.
at this hotel.
All right.
Okay,
Thanks
bye-bye,
again, Viv.
everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, that was Viv.
Hello. So, where are you all from? Wait a minute. Let me tell you where I am first, because I don't know if you were listening to Viv earlier, but we're actually live from Alexandria in Egypt. And here we've got Greece and Russia, Argentina, yes, hello Argentina. All right, Thailand, oh my God, okay, this is incredible. So we're actually, we've been doing a tour of Egypt, doing some talks about learning styles, and I will tell you how you know that I am traveling and not at home, because can you see this? There we are. I've got Pringles in my bag. And as we know, you only ever eat Pringles when you're traveling. All right, so thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I've got these state-of-the-art headphones on. Okay, Bulgaria, oh my God, you're from all over. So, all right, my talk today will be referring to the three-level course, Learning Styles, but the title of the talk is Puppets, Plays, and Paying Attention. And I have come to believe that paying attention to whatever it is that you're doing is the most important part of learning anything. And I think it's worth us talking about paying attention in these days when we have so many different distractions. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Learning Styles is a new three-level course for young learners. There is Little Learning Styles 1 and Learning Styles 2, and it's written by myself, Jan Parrott, and my co-author, Jill Layton. Some of you will already know Jill. She is the author of Captain Jack, which is a wonderful course, and Jill is our phonics expert, and we have a very strong reading program in Learning Styles, which I will tell you a little bit about later. So in other words, as you can see, Learning Styles is a course written by two beautiful blondes, me and Jill. That's our main selling point. We're both blonde. Okay. So, first of all, let's have a little think about what our young learners need. When we're talking about children who are like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, the most important thing is their safety. That the children, their physical and their psychological and mental safety. That is number one. As you know, we always take a sort of parental role in the classroom, and this is what we need to do. We need to make sure that our children come into our schools safe and well and healthy, and that they go out safe and well and healthy. Everything else is a luxury, all right? So that's the number one thing. And then we want our children to grow in confidence and to flourish. This is a large part of our job, encouraging children to feel comfortable in their school environment and to take that confidence out into the big wide world. Then, because they're very young, a lot of what we do is to do with life skills. In other words, learning to become responsible, independent, and to learn about what is good and what is acceptable behavior socially. So learning to share, learning to be kind to your friends, and then other things, more practical things like, do they know their address? Can they get dressed by themselves? Can they look after their school equipment? All these things feed into our lessons when we're talking about very young learners. And then the next thing, the thing that we think is our main job, language skills. But as you can see, I didn't put it first, because I do think that the other things are equally important when we have our young learners. So language skills, helping them to learn to fall in love with English, to learn to love coming to our lessons so that they want to continue their English language learning career. When we learn life skills, what we really want is repetition. Okay, we need a lot of repetition. We all need to hear and see things a lot of times to be able to understand them. And I'm going to be talking about ways in which we can make repetition fun and not just drilling. Of course, our young learners need action. They're kinesthetically motivated. They learn kinesthetically, many of them. They need to be up and doing things. But what we need in our classrooms is not just crazy running around, of course. What you need is focused action with a learning outcome. And then we need laughter. We need to have fun. If you think about the last time that you went out with your friends and you had a real laugh, your senses are heightened. We call it a sense of humor. It's very important, that phrase. It's our sense of humor. We sense things when we are laughing. We become very active, we become very alert, we become very aware, our memory improves, we feel bright when we are laughing. So we must involve laughter and fun. And then time. We need time to do things. Children need time to learn things. They need time to absorb whatever it is that they are learning. They need time to become confused and then to let that confusion gradually settle into comprehension. And this takes time. It's okay to be confused about what you're learning. Everything we start to learn seems strange to begin with. But what we need is the time to become comfortable with that. You can't rush little children in particular. And then children need attention, so they need to learn to pay attention, and they need our attention. All right? So these, I think, are the basics. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to try this. It's a bit difficult on a webinar. I hope there's not too much of a time delay. Can you see all those items on the screen? Okay, yes, yes, yes. All right, if you had to give this slide a title, what would you call it? I'm going to wait to see. You can see it. What would you call this group of items? What title would you give it? Oh. Shan's suitcase is good. My handbag is also good. All right, okay, handbag items. All right, we've got that. Is it any woman's handbag? Any woman's handbag? Could it be like a hairdresser's handbag? All right. Yes, you think so. Okay, someone says no. If you say no, why not? What is in there that wouldn't be in any woman's handbag? What can you see in that things? Well, crayons. Yes, that's right. Pencils. Yes, that's right. And of course, well, I would say, exactly. Thank you there. The pencil case. The pencil case. Only teachers go out with a pencil case in their handbag. So yes, I would say that this collection of items is called a pencil case. It's called, sorry, a teacher's bag, a teacher's bag. All right, okay. Right, hang on a second. Sorry, oh yeah. Oh, wait. Sorry. All right, what two things are missing now? I've changed the slide. What two things are missing? What two things are missing? I'm going to wait because there's a little bit of a time delay. Exactly, the tissues. The tissues are missing. The tissues are missing. What else is missing? Yes, we're thinking. Let me go back. And I'm going on again. All right, now have a look. Yeah, the water's still there. The gloves are still there. All right, okay, I'm going to stop you because actually there's only one thing missing. All right, I did that for two reasons. There's only one thing missing, only one item missing, just the tissues. Now, the reason that I did that was A, because you paid proper attention to that slide to think, first of all, what can I call it? what's in it that wouldn't be in every woman's bag. And B, when I asked you, were there two things missing, you had to become very observant. And C, because I think that one of the things that we have to do nowadays is make sure that our children check the information that they're being given and become properly observant and responsible for what they're learning. Because in the past, we didn't have access to this overload of information. When I was at school, if I had to do a school project on, say, the Eiffel Tower, I would have gone to the encyclopedia that I had at home. I would have looked up E, I would have found Eiffel Tower, I would have written out some notes, and I might have also gone to the public library and found one more book on the Eiffel Tower. My sources of information were limited, and they were also trustworthy, or at least I believed them to be trustworthy. And if they weren't trustworthy, that was the information that we all had. Nowadays, when a child wants to do, I'm not talking about a very young learner, it's a bit older, when a child of a primary level wants to do a project, they will Google first, and they will find out. Now then, I know, and you know, that when we Google and we want to find information, usually the first thing that comes up is Wikipedia. Fine, because we know that it's a good starting point, but it's only a starting point. It gives us some ideas, and then we have to check that information. But our students have to learn that. They go to Wikipedia, and they believe everything that's written there. So we have to start our children thinking critically from a much earlier age. And I think little games like this, where I say, you know, there are two things missing, and there isn't, there's one thing missing. They've got to check, they've got to be aware. Is she telling me the truth? I'm going to check that. I'm going to count how many things are on the first slide. I'm going to count on the other, and I'll know straight away that I'm right. So they have to begin to learn to trust themselves and what they find out. I'm not saying that we have to teach our children to be suspicious, but we do have to teach our children to become observant and to think critically. Okay. Talking about concentration and paying attention, children can, generally speaking, concentrate for about 2 to 5 minutes for each year old they are. So if we look at a 3-year-old, they can concentrate, they can focus on something from between 6 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is quite a long time when you're 3. If you look at a 6-year-old, it's quite interesting, I think, because you look at a 6-year-old, it's from 12 to 30 minutes. Now then, when I was at school, we were regularly asked to focus on one activity for 30 minutes. This was not unusual. Nowadays, because of the positive changes in teaching methods, we tend to vary our activities a lot more. And I think that maybe what we can do is bring back some of that focused work, because so many children have so many distractions. And I think that we must also make our schools a time where you do just sit and focus, a little bit of reading, a little bit of writing, but for a bit longer, that we can have higher expectations of our children and what they can focus on. So I think this little chart here is quite useful. If you get up to 10 years old, they could focus on something for 50 minutes. That's the whole lesson. And I think we tend to be a little bit more lax with how much we ask children to concentrate. Let's bring it back into the classroom a little bit. So how can we help children to pay attention? Well, first and foremost, what doesn't always occur to parents is that children need an organized, quiet space for them to work in at home. Now then, I've put this photo here, on this slide. There's a photo of a kitchen table. And I've done that deliberately because in the more financially well-off families, they can usually afford for the child to have a separate bedroom. And within that separate bedroom, the child will have a desk and a chair and desk tidies and all sorts of nice stationery. Now then, in the poorer families, of which the world is made up of millions of them, what happens is that the child doesn't have this space. They're asked to do their homework in the family living space. Fine. They're in the kitchen at the same time as the television's on, the computer's on, someone's playing with a laptop, somebody's cooking, somebody's coming home, people are going in and out. Now, what it doesn't occur to people is that what happens is there's this vicious circle starts to happen. So these families who actually have less in terms of books and stationery and space, they believe that the child isn't interested in doing the homework, but it hasn't properly occurred to them that the child physically can't do the homework. So I think this is, if you do have such families amongst your students, that this is somewhere that we can help them and say, look, if the child isn't doing the homework, what you can do is just for 1 hour, everything gets switched off. The television goes off, the music goes off, the laptops go off, the phones go off, people stay quiet. You clear physically a space on the kitchen table, just put everything away for that hour, and then the child can then just have something like a shoebox. It doesn't have to be anything grand. You can just put everything you need in one box. That's where they want the pencils and the crayons. And I have seen this. I'm mentioning this because I've seen this a lot. Children who don't do well at school actually haven't had the opportunity to have a proper place to do their homework. All right. So I think this is something that we can suggest to parents if they say the child doesn't want to do the homework. We can help them, give them ideas for how that can happen. Then, of course, within the classroom, we can encourage games and activities which require them to focus and to concentrate. And I've chosen two very simple ones here. So the first one is Pelmanism, or matching games. And of course, all you need for this is to have 2 of every flashcard or picture card that you are using. If you haven't got 2, you photocopy them, so you've got 2 of each. Stick them on card. And then you lay out the cards face down, and the child turns over one card, says the word book. Turns over another card, says the word ball. Is that a pair? No, it's not. You turn them back again. Then they turn over another. The next child turns over another 2. Ball, ball. Is that a pair? Yes, it is, and you keep them. It's a vocabulary learning game, but it's also good. It focuses their attention on the memory. Where was that card? It's very good for our attention. And the second game is what we call Kim's game. I'm sure you're all familiar with this game in the classroom. And it's very similar to what I was playing earlier with the teacher's handbag. You just put items on a tray or on a desk. The children name them. You cover the items with a cloth. The children close their eyes. You take away an item secretly. You uncover the items, and they have to see what's missing. And if any of you have played this game, and I'm sure many of you have, you immediately see children become incredibly focused very quickly. What's missing? What's missing? Because they're trying to compete with each other as well. So it's a fun game as well. Very, very simple. These games are great for concentration. One of the things that we have to do if we want our children to pay attention is that we have to show them how to stay still and listen by doing the same ourselves. Now then, I know very well what it's like to be a busy working parent. And I know that whenever my kids were being quiet and doing something, I would take the opportunity to do 6,000 things in the house. Or exactly the same in the classroom. What I used to do is as soon as the children were involved in an activity, I would get on with a bit of marking, I'd put some things on the board, I'd go into action. And I now realize this is not the best possible thing to do. That there are times, fine, you can do that at some point, but there are times when they should also see you sitting, focusing, and reading, so they can see that it is an activity that they like to do. And then, of course, as we know that if we read to our children, they will become readers. We must continue to make reading an enjoyable activity and not confuse reading with reading comprehension. These are two different lessons. There is a place for just reading, and it's very nice if we, at the end of a school day or within the school day, you just read the children a story. Now, don't then ruin it by asking your primary students to go home and write a summary of what they heard. There's nothing more depressing about them being asked to write a summary of a book when you just heard the story. Don't ask them 100 questions. Just read the book, close it, bye, and another day. They might not have understood everything. It doesn't matter. You don't understand everything straight away. So I think that we can just have reading for pleasure, and then at a different stage, in a different lesson, we'll do reading comprehension, where you will have questions and answers, and you will check that they've understood what they've read. That's a different lesson. It might be that you do that lesson on the same text, or on the same book, or it might be that you use a different text. But you should always also have just reading for pleasure. Okay? All right. Okay, yeah, my kids can't keep calm if they don't get the story. That is true. That is true. Yeah, they look forward to that. All right, so to get a child's attention, first we must pay attention to them. We must notice what they are noticing. And the first thing is goes along with what I'm saying about a child being physically safe. They have to first check their physical needs. Have they had enough to eat? Healthy snacks? It makes a huge difference if a child has just had a biscuit or chocolate. They won't be able to focus in the same way as if they've had something that will give them proper energy. Their attention goes up and down when they have the sugar. It really does make a big difference. So they can have like sultanas or raisins or fruit or cheese or bread. All these things will give them energy rather than that quick sugar energy. Have they got enough water? Are they too hot? Are they too cold? Have they got enough fresh air in the room? All these things. No little child will be able to focus if any of these things are wrong. Just as no young child will be able to focus if their friend has just taken their rubber. If a child has lost his rubber, he will not be able to focus on anything. So we have to notice what is worrying them, as we very well know. Okay? So we've got to make sure they're all okay before we ask them to pay attention. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that I think that we do have so many distractions in our lives that children can become overstimulated. All right. I've got two gorgeous little granddaughters. They're about 1.5 years old each, and they already know how to Skype. They know how to use tablets. They know how to use an iPad. They know what a mobile phone does. They're very up on all the latest technology. They're at home with it. Of course they are. It's a part of their life, and this is wonderful. But we do also need to give them, little children, give them time where there is less stimulation. And I think that we could consider what our classrooms look like. Very often nowadays you go into kindergarten or primary classrooms and every single wall is covered with amazing artwork, craft work, posters, etc. All right. Once upon a time, they didn't used to have anything. Now, many schools have got like way too much. I think there's something to be said about a blank wall. And what I would suggest is the wall on which your board is, if it's a blackboard or a whiteboard or an interactive whiteboard, wherever your board is, keep the space around the board clear. Our instinct is to put pictures and posters and information all around the board. But I think that maybe it's a good idea to keep that space clear so that the children, it'll often be where you are standing as well, so that when you ask them to look at the board, they're just looking at you, or they're looking at the word or the picture or the sentence that you are writing on the board. They're not getting too distracted. So yes, have craft, have artwork, absolutely. Make your classroom a lovely, colorful place. But I think we should be aware of overdoing it. Okay. And then it makes our classroom a little bit more of a calming place. And I think there is a real need, especially for those of us who live in big cities, to have a place, a little oasis of calm. If they're coming from a busy world with so many beeps and so much technology and so much traffic and so much going on, it's nice for them, for our classrooms, to be a little bit quieter and calmer. Yeah, I agree. Cluttered classrooms. There's a difference between creativity and clutter, isn't there? It's nice to have a little bit of space. Okay. Okay. Hang on a second. Now then, can I just ask you, how many of you are lucky enough to be able to have classroom assistants? You put in there. So just put yes if you have classroom assistants, or no if you don't. You just type it in the box. No, yeah. No, 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 no. One yes. No, 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 no. Sometimes, yeah, etc. Okay, good. I don't know if you can involve parents in coming into the classroom and get a sort of system of classroom assistants. When it's our very young children, it's very good for us to have help. And one of the ways in which a classroom assistant can help is by, obviously, this whole thing about keeping them safe and making sure they're not distracted, that they've all got their possessions, they've had enough water, all those things, because we actually become like sort of, you know, nursery nurses in the very young classroom as well. So we need some help with that. But also, it's nice for us to have time to admire children. And no, you're not allowed to have parents. Not a parent. Somebody said, no, no, not a parent. Okay. I'll be talking a little bit about that later. But I think that it's very powerful. Showing admiration is an incredibly powerful, and motivating for children. There's a difference between praising a child and between admiring them. And children know the difference. So usually when we're looking at children's work in the classroom, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. But every so often, it's nice to really show, oh, look, isn't that lovely what you've done? Oh, I like your handwriting. You've got such nice handwriting. Look at Emily's handwriting, everybody, etc. To really show admiration. I think it's incredibly powerful. And I think that often comes when you've actually got time to notice what is admirable in a child. It might not be something they've written, might not be something they've drawn, it might be their behavior, but we can always find something to admire in every child. And if we have a little bit more time, then we can do that more successfully. I can remember very vividly when I was 6 years old, and my teacher then, she wasn't actually a very nice teacher, that teacher I had. I was quite frightened of her, this one particular teacher. Anyway, but I still remember something that she admired about me. And what it was she said that I did very good O's. I wrote the letter O very well. Well, she made a big thing about it, you know. She said, and she showed the class, you know, look at Jeanne's lovely O's. She singled me out for my O writing. And the rest of the class also agreed that I had done really good O's. So, you know, when you think about it, it's just hilarious, isn't it? That I was so happy that I'd done a nice O, but I can remember it now. You know, it's over 50 years ago. And I can remember that it was just such a nice feeling. All right. So there you are. Someone said I still have lovely handwriting. I can't see who that is. My handwriting is not so good now, but maybe my O's are still good. Thank you. Anyway, so, you know, it's a question of having time to notice whether or not someone's O's are good. All right. And if, as it is, it's not the case with most people don't have assistance, then I would suggest thinking about doing fewer activities. That, you know, when you make your classroom program, do a little bit less so that you have time to properly focus on it and for you all to enjoy what it is that you are doing. Otherwise, you get into this thing where we're always chasing our tail. You know how a dog goes round and round and round. It chases its tail. It's a little phrase we have in English. I don't know if you've heard it. You chase your own tail. Basically, a dog can never catch its own tail. And so, in other words, you don't ever really do what you're trying to do. And now I'm going to have people saying no. But anyway, involve the parents. And talk to them about your expectations and your ambitions for the children. And I believe that what we have to do, there is often conflict between what we want to achieve and how we're doing it and with what the parental expectations are. And I believe that it's often because we haven't given them proper information. At the beginning of the school year, we think about our school timetable, we think about our program, our activities, we think about the other teachers in the school, we think about our workload, we think about the children, we think about the materials, and we don't think about the parents. And we don't make time. So I suggest that what we do is we make a bullet-pointed list of what it is how we are going to be teaching. So why is your child going to be learning to sing the alphabet? Why is your child going to be learning to sing English? Why are you playing games? You need to be able to tell them that you are doing focused learning. There are games which will have a positive learning outcome, and tell them how you will be doing this. And I think that maybe then you can start to have a little bit less conflict and frustration actually on both sides, because most of us are also parents as well as teachers. So we do know that it's annoying if the parent and the teacher, if their ambitions do not match. And I think that we do have to maybe take a bit more time to really inform them about what we're doing. They can't just get it by hearing what the child says. And yes, Irina, parents can help a lot. They can be our allies, but very often it becomes that they're not our allies in the school. It all becomes a bit frustrating. Okay. This is something about, getting children to focus. This is something I just got by Googling. You've probably seen this before. These are age-appropriate chores for children, and I do believe that children, if we're going to ask them to focus and to pay attention and to concentrate, then we give them proper work to do. So this is just like a little example of the kind of things that children can do at different ages. And of course it accumulates. And I do believe that if we give children proper responsibility at home and also in the classroom, like having monitors to do things, expect them to do the job well, and they will start to do it well. It's the kind of thing, so there's probably too much in there for you to take in, but you can Google that kind of thing and find it. Age-appropriate chores. Of course, we can do these kind of skills and chores in the classroom. The first one is a child-friendly, a child-specific activity, which is incredibly good for helping a child with their fine motor skills, threading beads onto string. But then the real-life skills, which will help their attention, like pouring milk onto cereal, pouring cereal into a bowl, and then pouring milk on it. It's quite a tricky operation. Making a sandwich. And in what we do in Learning Stars, we have these skills involved in the classroom. So here, in the book, in the course itself. So here we're suggesting that the children learn how to make a healthy lunchbox and make healthy choices for their lunchbox. This is obviously also, it's a CLIL lesson. But it is also a vocabulary lesson, so they're learning cake, lollipop, egg, banana, etc. And they have to say yes please or no thank you. They have to pack their own lunchbox. And we have a song, we are very down to earth about this. We don't expect children to always say no thank you. This is the very simple language. We've got here yes please, no thank you. In the song, we've got, an apple in my lunchbox, yes please, an apple in my lunchbox, yes please. A cake in my lunchbox, sometimes a cake in my lunchbox, sometimes please. Because we know that no child will say, oh God, no, don't give me a cake. Please don't give me a lolly. All right, the children are going to like it. All right, okay, thank you very much. Okay. All right, so this is a CLIL lesson here. And here's something, again, it's from Learning Stars 1. And this is something you can actually do in the classroom. Take in a loaf of bread, take in sliced cheese, take in a tomato, take in some lettuce, take in a knife, not a sharp knife, but a butter knife, and one of those rounded knives, children can cope with them. You wash the tomato together, and you make a sandwich together, and then that is your snack for the break. You all make your own sandwiches. That's something you can easily do in the classroom. And of course, before you make your sandwich, you must wash your hands, and this is a lesson from Learning Stars 2. Again, it's focusing on this life skill of washing your hands and what is clean and what is dirty, and the little activity down the bottom, they've got to choose what they need when they wash their hands. Do you want a clean towel or a dirty towel, etc. In Learning Stars, we have these can statements, what the child can do. So here, from this, again, from Learning Stars 2, I can get up on time. I can wash my hands before I eat. I can wash my face. I can wear my seatbelt, etc. I can say my address. These can statements, hang on a second. Can you see the slide? It doesn't seem to load it. Okay. Hang on a second, you're coming just at the right time. Hang on a second, I've got the expert here. My slide won't load. Hang on, I've just got Macmillan here, egg newborn, come and see my slide. It won't, there you are, it's done. Thank you. They were just frightened of Ed, see. As soon as Ed appeared, it did it. Okay, so this is Ed to the rescue. Yes, there's Henry, thank you. All right, these can statements are included in a normal lesson. So this one here is about clothing, and the can do statement here is I can get dressed by myself. Now then, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how we teach reading in Learning Stars. As you can see in this lesson, this is in level 2, there are words in a star. My, me is like the, no, we, want, I. And there are words in a butterfly. It, a, can. What do you think the difference? What do you think the words in the star are? I'm going to wait for you to put some comments. What do you think the words in the star? I will give you a clue. It's not new vocabulary. It isn't the new vocabulary and revised vocabulary. It isn't that. What do you reckon the words in the star might be? I'm going to wait to see if anybody has an idea. Okay. It might be that there's a time delay. All right, okay. Because there's a time delay, I think there's an, excellent. Thank you very much, Irana. Thank you. Okay, so it is the most frequently used. It is high frequency words. And the high frequency words which cannot be sounded out phonetically. So, for instance, we do not say, you take the word like. We do not say liquor. It's like. But the words in the butterfly are the words which the children will be able to sound out from having learnt the sounds of the words. So, it, can. Okay. All right. So this is the difference between the words in the butterfly. The words in the star are high frequency words which the children will learn to read through the look and say method. The words in the butterfly are words which the children can read by sounding them out phonetically. All right. We start to do this actually here's another example here. Yeah? So there you can see it again. Like with. It's not with it, huh? We don't say with. It's with. All right. We don't say it, no. All right. So the children will gradually learn the different sounds for the words in the butterfly. We start in little learning stars with one sound, with one word for each letter, one sound for each letter. And then this is in learning stars 1, and we go through the sounds of the words alphabetically. And we visited a lot of schools, and we saw that a lot of you like to do, they prefer to learn these sounds in alphabetical order, and that you also give a lot of examples for each sound. So that's what we did. Cat, caterpillar, car, cake, cow, camel, etc. And that's how we, and then the slide's gone funny again. There you go. Okay, and then these words are made up into a lovely story with a rhyming story. Cat and camel had a cake in the car. Caterpillar has an orange guitar. And all these little characters end up going to a party. All right. So that's how we gradually teach them to learn to read. Okay. We've only got 3 minutes left, actually. What am I doing for time? So I think I might have to go a little bit quickly through this. Okay. Using puppets. There we are. It's Horsey time. Yes, he's so happy. Can you see him? He's very happy to be here. He's the star of our show. All right. So why should we use puppets? Okay. Henry says we can take more time. All right. Thank you, Henry. All right. The slide. Can you see the slide, Henry, the next one? All right. Seems to be taking a long time to load for some reason now. Hang on a second. Ed's going to frighten the PowerPoint again. There we are. You see, wait. It's come. See, as soon as you appear, it's come again now. It says, I can use that one. Okay. Okay, all right. So, so Horsey, this is him in action. All right, this is him in action, and he's in all the lessons, and in this action it's about the body. All right, and a Horsey, of course, has got a tail, but his friends haven't, and Horsey's very kind, and he makes tails for his friend. So this is about parts of the body, but it's also about being kind to your friends, doing something for your friends, and also it's about we are all different. So there's lots of things going on. All right, so puppets. Well, puppets can, of course, repeat the same question again and again and again. But if you want to, as I said, we need to have repetition. If you need to you need to say things this way. So let's have the question, do you like cheese? It's usually my sample question. If I say, I can't go around the class because some of you are in Thailand and some of you are in Russia, so I can't physically go around the class. But if I say, do you like cheese? Yes, I do. Do you like cheese? Yes, I do. Do you like cheese? Yes, I do. It's so boring, and children will fall asleep. But if Horsey goes around the class and asks people, do you like cheese? And they say yes or not. Do you like cheese? When Horsey asks the same question, the children will look at the puppet. They will be interested in the funny things that the puppet does. But at the same time, you're actually drilling the lesson. They're drilling the language. And then, of course, they can, puppets can make the same mistakes and experience the same difficulties as the children. So Horsey can get things wrong, or I can say, Horsey, what color is a tomato? And he can think and he can say, yellow. No, Horsey, it's not yellow. What color is a tomato? Green. No, Horsey. All right. And what we can do, of course, then the children will correct Horsey. But we can also show that we don't mind when Horsey makes a mistake. And this is very important. Oh, yeah, there are green and yellow tomatoes. Yeah, you're sorry, Horsey, you were right. Sorry. You're quite right. Thank you, Fern. Okay, so, but it's very important that the children see that you won't get angry or irritable if they make mistakes. And of course, they can show emotions which children might not want to admit to, like shyness and so on. They can demonstrate the consequences of not obeying school rules. So, for example, what you could do one day, you could have Horsey come in with a Band-Aid, with an elastoplast on him, a plaster. And you say, what happened, Horsey? Did you hurt your head? Yes, I did. Well, how did you hurt your head? I ran in the school corridor. Oh, Horsey, did you bang your head? Did you hurt? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you mustn't do it again. No. So things like this. So you can safely make those points. Puppets change the place of a lesson. They capture children's attention. They encourage, very importantly, imagination and creative thought. We don't just have to use puppets. We can use toys. Again, these are life skills from learning styles. Like I can wash myself. You use dollies. You use teddies. I wear my seatbelt, etc. Okay, let's wait for the next. There we are. All right, here we are. We're coming up to the next bit, which is playing and plays. We'll probably do another 5 minutes and we're done. If that's okay, Henry, just put a yes in there. Another 5 minutes. And now these are two, thank you, Henry. These are two pictures of me when I was little. All right, can you see me there? I'm wearing my little cardigan and I'm roaring with laughter. I'm having fun. I'm watching a concert at school. And there's another picture of me. Look, I'm the bridesmaid. I'm holding my friends. I'm playing weddings with my friends. Look at my haircut. I had a really bad haircut. Look at that. I think my mum cut my fringe. Oh, no, or maybe it was, I had a hairdresser. She was a bad hairdresser, and I can see. Anyway, so we're playing weddings in the garden. This is my garden at home in Croydon. As you can see, we didn't have any proper costumes. We used old sheets, we used old towels, we used old curtains, and then we were playing out these stories. So why should we use drama activities? Well, number one, because of this. Because children have this innate desire to play and to act out the stories of our lives. Children, when they go to school, one of their favorite games is playing school. They like to play at being teacher. As I said, my darling little grandchildren, they're 1.5, but they're already starting to play imaginatively, and their game that they play is mummy and baby. They put their dollies in the cot, they kiss their dollies goodnight, they pretend to put a bag on and be like mummy. So they're really tiny, but they're using this drama activity to make sense of their own lives. Drama, it gives us this safe place with which we can experiment. let's look at the second point there in red, that drama actually involves the whole child. Okay, it involves their bodies. It's holistic learning in the true sense of the word holistic. It involves your body, your mind, your senses, your emotion, your memory, your dreams, your imagination. And of course, drama also nurture happiness and playfulness in the classroom, which is what we like. When we use drama activities, we can think about character, emotion, voice, movement, etc. Oops-a-daisy. Sorry. Okay. All right. These are characters. I won't ask you to put it in a thing, but we can easily see this is from Little Red Riding Hood. And again, I can't actually do this activity with you because I can't hear you, unfortunately. But if we just take the phrase, I'm going to Grandma's, okay? I'm going to Grandma's. And first of all, we say it as if a wolf would say it. I'm going to Grandma's. And then we say it like Little Red Riding Hood would say it. I'm going to Grandma's. And then we would say it like Grandma would say it. I'm going home. And then a bird. I'm going to Grandma. Tweet, 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 tweet. Okay. So we can say these things in different ways. Okay, we're using character. And then, of course, we can use emotion. So we can be happy when we're saying, I'm going to Grandma. I'm going to Grandma's. We can be angry. Going to Grandma's. We can be passionate. I'm going to Grandma's. Okay, we can use all these different things. These are things that we need to do a proper face-to-face workshop on. But what we're doing, though, you'll notice how I've said the phrase, I'm going to Grandma's, already about 8 times. But at no point has the focus actually been on the language. The focus has been on other aspects of the language. Okay, like the concept, the emotion, the character. And this is a part of Little Learning Stars 2. It's at the end. And we do these little plays. Okay, so here's Little Red Riding Hood. I'm Little Red Riding Hood. I'm the wolf. I'm Grandma. We're flowers and birds. Okay, hold on a second. Where's it gone again? Slide, come back again. Come back again, slide. Sorry. Seems to be taking a while. Ah, there we are. You're not my grandma. And then she's frightened. We want to think about help. So a lot of preparation would go into doing this simple play. And you do not have to have expensive costumes. It's much more fun if the children can use what they have to make costumes and props. It doesn't have to be all posh. But as you can see, I hope you can see, you can employ some of these very simple drama techniques to make this into a very holistic lesson. And that is it from me, I think. Yes, that is it. So if there's anything else you'd like to learn about Learning Stars, I'm sure your local reps have it. Learning Stars has maths books, activity books, digi books, teachers' books, and of course the students' book. Thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to you. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much indeed. Lovely. Thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you, Jan. Lovely to see you again. Okay, that was brilliant. I always look forward to your webinars and all the different voices I get to hear.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us
thank
today.
Thank you.
And
all right. All right. Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Henry.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.